Hello, everybody. So we're live at 7 o'clock, and it hit me about a minute ago. We're on my phone, and my phone is old, doesn't act very well, and actually has some issues from time to time allowing people on. I'm hoping that somehow, by a miracle, that I'm able to actually, let's see if we can have Brittney join. I'm gonna approve it. I'm gonna send a request. Last time, it just sat like this for minutes until we decided to change to Annie's phone. Oh my goodness, it's a miracle. There you are.
Literally, as you were saying it, I was thinking, I was like, uh-oh, I hope his phone is gonna work.
Can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Hang on. What about now?
My phone or yours?
Can you hear me now?
Talk again.
Now? How about now? No?
Little bit.
Can everybody
Probably
else
everybody
hear me?
can hear you, though. That's the key, is if
I
everybody can
know.
hear you.
I wonder if there's like something you need to tap so it comes through your speaker, because I'm afraid it's coming through your earpiece instead of like your speaker. But Judy, I see you here. Can you hear me, Judy? And what about Natalie? I saw both of you. Can you guys hear? You can hear us both. Okay, Rebecca Mueller is saying she can hear us both. Hi, Elise.
Yeah, it's coming through the
earpiece. Yeah, it needs
yeah.
you need it to come through the speaker.
And I don't see anything. Let me put my glasses on.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing so many names I recognize. Janice, what's up? Julia, hello. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for being here, Satya and Felicia and Dora. Hey, so glad to hear you guys or see you guys here. Rhonda, I see you. And Teresa.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be really close and I'm going to listen to you, Brittney.
Hey, lucky for you, Darryl, I have a pretty loud voice. So hopefully you'll be able to hear me. I'm so glad to be here with everybody tonight. Darryl, do you want to start us off, and I'll get a piece of paper ready to go so I can take notes.
Okay.
Questions.
What I'll do, I guess briefly what I'll do is just explain my story, where I'm at and why I'm where I'm at. So for those that haven't heard, back in 2014, I suffered a severe cerebellar stroke. That stroke was one that very closely took, it was close. It almost took my life. And had to go to rehab after a week's stay in neuro ICU. In a week's stay in rehab, I went home and got a doctor's referral, went to the doctor, and came home with several prescriptions. Metformin, atorvastatin, and a couple of blood pressure medicines. And I don't know, there was something else thrown in there as well. And I knew that I didn't want to do that, but it was what I was going to have to do to save my life. I knew I needed to lose weight, and so I started on that journey, and it was a yo-yo journey. It was one that was up and down. I'd gotten up as high as 235. I felt really comfortable at 210. I'd get down, and I'd go back up. I'd get down. And finally, October of last year, I went to the doctor, and I was a little over 220 pounds. And they did the blood work, and it came back my A1C was 8.3. They wanted to put me on an additional medication for type 2 diabetics, and that was I was already taking Jardiance, I was already taking metformin, and they wanted me to do a once a week shot. And I was not a fan. I wasn't going to do that. I would make any changes that I needed to make. And my sweet wife was listening to Brittney and Jody Moore talk about this protocol, and she said, let's give it a try. So we did. And we kept it to ourselves for close to 5 months. And in that 5 months, I lost probably 25 pounds. And my A1C was able to get down to 5.6 at the end of 6 months. And I got to 190 pounds. Gosh, I haven't been at 190 pounds in, I don't know when the last time I was at 190 pounds. So I think it was before we moved to Alabama. So I think we were living in Florida at the time. So anyway, so that briefly, that's my story. I got on the protocol. I was dedicated to it. I worked hard at it. I walked, and that was the only exercise I did. And I did what was asked of me, and it has changed my life. So, and it's given me tremendous hope for the future. So, Brittney, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh, yeah. I think you're muted.
Okay, what about
There
now?
you go. Okay.
Okay, so everybody's telling us that we are very close to the screen. And so, and it's, I mean, I know you are because you're trying to hear, but even me, like I'm looking at this from a different screen, and
Wonder,
something's up with our
I
video.
wonder if I get my ear. Let me get my ear
Darryl.
plugs. Let me see if that works.
I don't know why we're up so close. Can you guys hear me now? Because it's coming in a little bit delayed. So I want to make sure you can now hear me.
Oh my gosh, now I can get across the room. Holy cow, that's awesome. Perfect.
You can hear. Okay. So I'm looking, I don't know why this is, but I'm looking at how we are in the screen, and we are very close to the screen. And I'm not sure why it looks like this. We're just going to go with it because at least you can hear us, right? And that's the important thing. So I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in, and I really want you to know we're going to answer a bunch of these questions. And so I'm going to take note of the questions that are being asked. And before we get into all of those questions, we wanted to bring a couple people on tonight because I know there are a lot of you who have taken a leap of faith and decided to try this, right? You've decided to jump in. And you're at those early stages, a lot of you, where you're still probably a little skeptical. You're not even sure if you're using it properly, and you're trying to kind of figure things out, right? And then some of you have started using this for a while now, and you've started getting really great results. I'm worried about the fact that people can't see us or hear us. And Darryl, you're frozen.
Am I frozen?
Yeah, you're frozen. We're getting a lot of comments of people saying, we can hear you, but the picture's off.
It could be my old phone. You know, I have an 11.
I'm not sure
I'm just
why.
excited that I got you on. So
We're just gonna go. Okay, so should we just keep rolling?
yeah, let's see if it catches up. I'm on good Wi-Fi. So
Okay, good. We'll just keep going then. So I know some of you have started seeing results, and I'd love for you to come in the chat and just tell us if you've noticed measurable results. I'd love to hear about them. But I know some of you are still in those early phases and you would like to see more results, and maybe you're a little skeptical. And so I want to check on that for you. And so what we could do, Darryl, is maybe you could bring Natalie on, because I think one thing that's significant is that Natalie, you know, she has kind of a different story than me, Darryl. You are very much somebody with a diagnosis that was dealing with like measurable numbers. And Natalie, her story's a little different. She was struggling with more mental, emotional things and some physical things, but mostly in another arena. And so it's interesting to kind of hear what's happened for her. Oh, there she is.
there she is.
I just need you to know everybody looks perfectly normal on my screen. So
Now
Yeah.
it does. This is the first time it's looked normal. I'm over here laughing because I feel like I'm at the fun house at the fair.
Oh, that's funny.
You guys
Gotta
are
ask
like
yourself what you love.
stretched and so close. Anyway, this all looks normal now.
I hope it looks normal to the viewers. That would be really great. So not just to us. But
Yeah, right.
Natalie, yeah, thanks for being willing to come on. And Darryl, you know, maybe you wanted, I don't want to step on your toes. Maybe you wanted to ask Natalie a few questions.
Well, I've always been impressed with Natalie's story, and I love the way that she shares her experience with protocol when she first came involved with it. And that's why I wanted to invite her on this channel so that our people can hear from Natalie. And that's basically what I was hoping for.
Yeah. Okay. I would love to share. So they say that we're keep going black for them. I guess if as long as they can still hear us, it's okay if they can't see us. Can you guys still hear us just fine? Okay, Brenda says she hears us fine, but we keep blacking out. Everyone looks fine. Okay. Okay. Awesome. All right. Good deal. So here is my story. I am 50, soon to be 51 this next month. Crazy. And I was dealing with some depression. And I am somebody who's been concerned about health for years and years and years. I've tried everything under the sun that you can think of. And so I've tried every kind of diet or lifestyle change. And so I found myself in a place where I had totally neglected fiber in my diet because I was doing a lazy keto diet. And so I started having some depression. And I had met with a functional medicine doctor to the tune of $6,000, done every cleanse you could think of. I, at one point, could eat 3 foods, chicken, broccoli, and grass-fed butter, like barely anything. And at the end of meeting with that functional medicine doctor and doing all the things I was told to do, I did everything to a T. I felt worse than I did when I started. And meanwhile, Brittany had said to me while I was doing this, she's like, you need to try this 2-part protocol. And I was like, does it have more than grass-fed butter, broccoli, and chicken in it? And she said, yes, it does. I was like, well, I can't then, because I had already spent so much money. And I really had faith that this could help, you know, that the doctor could help me. Didn't. And as soon as I was done, my first phone call was to Brittany. And I was like, what is this? Tell me about it. She's like, it's 90-day money back guarantee. I don't know exactly what it's going to be able to do for you, but I think it can help. And this was kind of new at the time, right? I feel like, Brittany, you didn't have a lot of people who had talked about depression or anxiety, or your own customers, because you're fairly new. But in 3 weeks of using this system, I was just saying in the chat, I didn't have any weight loss for 5 weeks. But what I did have is that my depression completely reversed in 3 weeks. The food noise that had plagued me forever, which I didn't recognize it as food noise. I didn't even know to put a name on it because it was just my reality. It was gone. I wasn't thinking about food 24/7. And if I hadn't experienced it myself, I would think that what I'm telling you right now is really crazy. At the time, I also had my oldest daughter, who was 28, living at home because she couldn't thrive on her own. She needed our help. She could barely get up in the morning. Her depression was much more severe than mine. In 2 weeks, her depression lifted. She was herself again. She found an apartment in another state and moved out of our house, started doing things. I mean, she was just a totally different person. And it was just so awesome to watch that happen for her. And you might think, like, well, how could that happen? Like Darryl, who was off his insulin and no longer type 2 diabetic, and then you reverse your depression. And I know it sounds confusing, but so many times as doctors and nurses, they treat us as 1,000 different parts, when in reality, if someone would just treat us as a whole and start dealing with root cause, which is insulin resistance, it's amazing what can happen. And we see this across the board with hundreds and thousands of people. All the experiences are different. Some people are like, their inflammation just goes so quick. Other people, PCOS, and they don't have symptoms of that anymore. Other people, insulin. Other people, anxiety. My 17-year-old, it has helped her anxiety. Like, she's a different person. She's been able to build muscle. I mean, it's just, it's hard to tell you all of the things, you know, that can happen, but it's just so exciting. It's so exciting to meet someone else again and to just be like, it did that for you? Oh my gosh. Like, and we're gathering a lot of data because everyone is so different. And I'm almost 2 years in, and it just gets better. I'm just literally aging backwards. I say I say a lot of times I feel better at 50 than I did at 20 or 30, but like I actually don't remember feeling this good. And it's as easy as drinking 2 drinks.
It's so incredible. Natalie, one of the things that stands out to me too, because I do think when you hear stories like Daryl's, where, you know, he has these massive lab results that are shifting, and you hear the scale moving for him pretty quickly, right? And so then, you know, Natalie, I'm sure from the beginning, you're like, oh, some weight loss would be nice, but you're not seeing that change at all. But when you have the mental health shift, you're like, who even cares? Like at the end of the day, like, right, the truly like thinking about the weight loss part, it really should be the icing on the cake. Like the added bonus that happens for people often as a side effect if they have weight to lose. Because here Natalie is almost a couple years into this, right? Not quite, year and a half, something like that.
Yeah,
And
it'll be 2 years in September.
and you haven't continued losing weight, right?
No, I finally got to that set weight. And it used to be I've gotten to this set weight 10 times. And then if I let my foot off the gas, I gain everything back and then another 5 pounds. And it just started coming off, and it didn't come off super fast, but it just came off effortlessly because I told myself when I started this, I wasn't going to do any kind of diet. I wasn't going to cut any food out. I wasn't going to be crazy. I wasn't going to weigh or do any of that. And I still lost the, 20 pounds that had plagued me forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the point is that you're not doing calorie counting, you're not doing excessive exercise, you're not like breaking your back. You don't feel like you're on a diet. And Darryl, you tell me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, this doesn't feel to me like I'm on this diet where, you know, I'm feeling limited and like I'm having to white knuckle it all the time. Like,
Oh,
it's
no.
not right.
Yeah, today I ate a lunch that Miss Annie or Annie had made over the weekend, and it was something for the kids. It was kind of like a goulash, it had elbow macaroni and hamburger, and I just had the balance beforehand. My sugar, it went up just a little bit, but not very much, and I feel great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
I'm
that,
not dieting crazy at all.
yeah, I think that that's an important point. And obviously, like if you want to see quicker results, you can be more conscious of that kind of stuff. And there are definitely ways that we can show you for those of you who are wanting weight loss and you're feeling like it's not happening as quick as you want. These are tools, right? So you can use them. You can drink the Unimate a little bit closer to your meal, and you'll notice that your cravings go down a lot, especially for carbohydrates and sugars. And so there are some little tweaks that we can make to help you if that's what you're looking for. Plus, if you're starting to get comfortable with the fasting, then you can start leveling up your fasting a little bit. You could try a longer fast. And sometimes that can kind of help you get unstuck with the weight loss if that's an important thing to you. Before we go any further, I just want to make sure everybody knows we do have some people that work with us. These are not random people that are in the comments helping right now. I see Colton, I see Janice, I see Judy. These are all people who know what they're talking about, and the answers they're giving you are legit. And so it's easier to have help than for us while we're trying to talk be in the comments. So just know that like you're getting good responses in there. But we do have a couple really exciting things that we want to tell you about. And so we're going to get to that in just a minute. And we have another guest that we want to bring on. But before we let Natalie go, I just wanted to ask you, Natalie, like when you think about where you were at when you first started this, your mindset, your skepticism prior to it, and then maybe your initial mindset, even the first couple months, even though you were seeing some results compared to now, like, can you give us a little bit of insight there?
Yeah, that's such a good question because Brittany knows, and Brittany was the one that walked me through this. I felt like, yeah, it will work for other people, but it's not going to work for me because I've tried everything under the sun and it won't work for me. And then I said, oh, it's happening because of the fasting, or oh it's this, or oh it's that, and just lots of questions, lots of learning about how the body works. And I would say one of the best ways for you to understand what's happening is just to start like following some people that are talking about insulin resistance. Checking out Brittany's material that she puts out is very, very helpful because it's just in little snippets. When you understand that we've been lied to about calories in, calories out, and all of these medicines and needing all of these things, and that the key is insulin, and you start to realize, like right now, I have a CGM on. This is called a continuous glucose monitor. Those of you who are diabetic might know about this. Yeah. And it has been a game changer. I just recently started a series showing you what it looked like when I ate pizza without my Balance fiber packet ahead of it. I spiked by over 100 points, and it took over 4 hours to get back into normal range. And then the next day, I did it with the fiber in front of it. It only spiked by 50, and it was back in range within an hour and a half. With no exercise, no extra things on the outside. I was very careful with my monitoring. Here's the thing. When you pay attention to insulin, everything changes. Like I feel like 90% of what you are currently complaining about can be taken care of. But you also have to realize it took you a long time to get to where you're currently at, and you have to have an adult time frame. Right? I mean, we are in this world where we think everything should be instantaneous. We should be better in 5 days, which is so funny because you'll take a pharmaceutical and you're not better in 5 days, but you're okay with that somehow because it came from a doctor who's a miracle worker and not human. But they are human, and they're actually not taught about nutrition. So many doctors I've talked to are not taught about insulin resistance. They themselves have become pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic because they are not understanding that insulin resistance is the key to that. And as you start to fill your mind, like I would say, if anybody's just somebody who likes information, get the book Why We Get Sick by Dr. Ben Bickman.
Yeah.
That's such an easy read. I read at a 4th grade level. Like I could handle it. It was really good. Anybody, you know how I just don't like things that are above my intellect level.
And Natalie, I want to jump in and say, because tomorrow night we have a science call. Okay. These are open to anybody. You can click the Zoom, listen in. You can have your friends and family listen in. Anybody can listen in. And speaking of Ben Bickman, Dr. Ben Bickman, which go look him up if you don't know who he is. He's awesome. But he's a metabolic scientist that's just world renowned. Well, he has a PA that he works with. Her name's Lindsay Venn. And she's actually going to be the guest speaker tomorrow night on our science call. And she's specifically going over the different benefits of intermittent fasting and who they're for and who they're not for. And for those, I saw a couple questions in there like, well, what if you don't have weight to lose? And I just want you to know there are so many benefits to intermittent fasting that are completely outside of weight loss. And there is absolutely a way for you to fast if you want to maintain your weight, no problem, but still get the benefits of the fasting. And so if you want the link to be able to come and listen into that science call, if you just put in the comment section the word science, then you will automatically get sent the link for tomorrow night's call. And that's at 8 p.m. Central. I think it's at 8 p.m. Central.
It is 8, yes.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Central. You'll just put the word science. We'll send you that link. Join for free. It's an easy way to listen in. And for those of you who are like, you've heard a little bit about this, but you're like, I want my sister to hear this. I want my spouse to hear this. I want to, like, it's hard for me to explain. Getting them on one of those science calls is a great way because you're going to have a medical professional. You're going to hear testimonials from people who have gotten real results. You're also going to hear how this protocol can benefit you. And it's a live coaching call. So if you're there live, you can ask questions and get your questions answered in real time. And so that's pretty awesome. I'm not a medical professional. Natalie's not, Daryl's not, but on those calls, there are medical professionals. And so I recommend just putting in science, coming to that call. It will help you a ton. And on that note, there's also another keyword I'll tell you about right now. We'll talk more about it in a minute. but if you put the word info or Zoom in the comment section, then we can send you a pre-recorded Zoom. So it's a Zoom that already took place where we explained the referral program. Because I know many of you have started buying more than one of these. You know, you've got people in your household that are using them, or you want to tell your grandkids or your niece or your sister or whatever. And if you are planning on using this for the foreseeable future and you have a couple family members, it may make sense for you to look at the business side of this and look at the referral program. So just type info or Zoom and we'll send you that recording and you can just watch it on your own time. I know sometimes people have trouble getting on the live Zooms. So it's a great option for you because you can just watch this at whenever you want and you don't have to be there live. Sorry, I just thought I'd go over that really quick and then we'll circle back to that. But Natalie, thank you so much for all the things you shared.
Yes.
I think it is so incredible to hear how much our gut health is connected to our mental health, and that by taking care of that, you had like systemic changes. You know, from head to toe, you had changes, and you've now been able to share this with a lot of people, and now you've heard so many results from the people you've shared it with. I mean, you just are like, trust me, this stuff works. Just drink the drinks, you know? So thank you for coming on. Darryl, did you have anything else you wanted to ask Natalie?
I just wanted to thank her for taking her time and being with us tonight. Appreciate it,
Of
Natalie.
course. Of course. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Natalie. Okay. And Darryl, do you want to look for Dora? It's Dora's who's coming on with us tonight, right?
Right. And I
If you
think
want to look
she's
for Dora while I am going to answer a couple of these questions until she comes on.
okay.
So, is this protocol good for someone that has to eat all the time and is super skinny? Yeah, Cheryl, it absolutely is good in those situations. And sometimes people are dealing with something called hypoglycemia, where they get like low blood sugar and they feel like they have to eat all the time to keep their blood sugar going. That actually is a symptom of insulin resistance. And so they will find that this system really helps them with that. And they may modify their fasting. They may do 3 meals and then they have a 12-hour fast instead of a 16-hour fast. So there's some modifications we can make, but absolutely this is a good thing for people regardless of if they need to lose weight or not. Because again, weight loss is a very common side effect for people who have weight to lose, but it is not what this system is for. The system's going to help with so much more than that. There, I see Dora. Do you see her there? She just commented.
I don't. I know she's there. I've seen her. Dora, can you hit the add button? Maybe you'll come up on my end.
Yeah, Dora, there's like a little icon at the bottom that looks like a person. It's like a little, yeah. And if you click that, you'll be able to zoom in here. Okay, Stacy Jones asks, are you a doctor? No, neither Darryl or I are doctors. So we're telling stories and sharing experiences. But if you would like to listen in tomorrow night, we will have medical professionals on that call. You can just type science and we'll get you the info on that. We've also had some questions about the flavors. Darryl, I'm going to let you answer that. What do you think of the flavors?
Well, there are 2. There's lemon and then lemon ginger. My favorite is the lemon ginger, and the reason I like that aftertaste, that ginger aftertaste. It's a little stronger. The lemon is a little more diverse. You can do things with it that I like what you did the other day, Brittany. You added mint to it. Oh, wait a minute. This may be Dora here. It is. Let me see if she can come on. And then there's what, LMNT?
Yeah, that's electrolytes. Yeah.
Electrolytes. There are different things that you can add to that. And it's trying to add Dora and.
Yeah, Dora, you may have to accept it on your end. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of signs. And, Dora, I want to just kind of set the stage for Dora. You guys are going to love her. Dora is a person who was watching these lives, like some of you. And as she was watching these lives, she started using the protocol. She came into our private Facebook group that's for customers only. All of you that are customers are invited to join that group. There's a lot of great stuff in there. She started learning more and kind of getting excited about this. And she decided she wanted to share this with people. In fact, some people have an existing business and they like the idea of offering this system as a tool, and other people would like to create a business with this. And if that's of interest to you, we know that's not for everyone, and there's zero pressure with that. But if that's something that interests you, make sure you type info in the comment section, and we will explain how the whole thing works, the referral program works. And you'll know after listening whether or not it's a fit for you. Okay, so can I use IV? Like, I think you're asking about liquid IV. Debbie, a lot of liquid IV breaks your fast. And so I'd be really careful with that. Some of the electrolytes that I recommend are Redmond Relight, Element. Those are brands that I know don't break your fast because I've tested them. But using a little sea salt even can give you some electrolytes. And the reason that that's important is when you first start intermittent fasting, your insulin levels are going to come down lower, which is a good thing. We want to get insulin down low because we need to become insulin sensitive instead of insulin resistant. Insulin resistance causes us all kinds of problems. And so we like that those levels are coming down low, but when insulin gets low, water will go, which means we're going to lose some of the excess water weight that we've been holding on to. But with that leaves some electrolytes. And unfortunately, the water that comes out of most of our faucets or even out of bottles doesn't have very many minerals anymore. So you have to replenish those minerals. Otherwise, you might notice that you get headaches or cramps, or you feel nauseous even. Those are signs that you are a little dehydrated. And so I highly recommend, especially in your first couple weeks of using this, that you're drinking plenty of water still and that you're adding some electrolytes in so that you stay hydrated. I'm not talking about Gatorade. I'm not talking about like what we normally think of as electrolytes. There are some specific ones that are going to not break your fast and really get you the minerals you need. And in the Facebook
Can we
group,
have Dora? Can you see if you press that icon again? If you can add or answer the request.
yep. Yeah, Dora, try that request again. And there are, Darryl, can you just speak out loud what your link is? Because there's a lot of people asking, where do we find this? And
Okay.
Yeah.
It's at Miss Annie's Home and Kitchen.com/fiber. That's the landing page, and you'll scroll down about 3/4 of the way. You'll see a video with Brittany and Annie and I, and then just above it, there are some buttons there that you can push. They're kind of a mauve color button. You can click on those to go to the corporate pages and get the information that you would like.
Yeah, I want to be really clear that we purchased this system direct from the manufacturer. We do not buy it from a third-party site. We don't sell it separately. This is all direct through the manufacturer, and you are getting the exact same price, same link, everything that we're using. It is $75 cheaper though than if you just looked it up online. If you went to Amazon or if you went to just Google and you searched the Feel Great system, you're going to pay $235. But if you go through this link that Darryl's sharing, you're going to save $75 on it. So, and you'll get connected with us. You'll get an email from Darryl. You'll get a text message. We'll put you in our group. We're going to take care of you and we'll know that you purchased. We had some people asking about, what if I'm in Canada? What if I'm in a different country? How does this whole thing work? And when you click on that link, it's universal. It's in over 60 countries. So it will pop up in your area, whatever your area is, and you'll see the pricing and everything in your country. So if you click on it and you're living in Canada, it will open to the Canadian site and it's being shipped locally in Canada. And so the shipping and everything, you don't have to worry about it crossing borders. That's just going to be there local. And the pricing is slightly different, obviously, if you're in a different country. But no matter what country you're in, you're getting the same massive discount. So hopefully that answers some questions there. Okay, we're getting a lot of questions answered. Thank you for those. Okay, so people are saying, I would love to follow the Facebook page. When you join as a customer, you will get an invitation to join that Facebook page. Again, that is a gift with purchase that anybody is free to join once they're using the system, but it's a customer container. There are thousands of people in there that are helping each other, sharing stories. There's a whole frequently asked questions section, before and afters, lots of great stuff in there to help you and get you answers in real time. So you're definitely welcome to jump into that after you've purchased. Let's see, Darryl, do you see anything from Dora?
I don't. I had seen a request and I pushed it, but it's my phone's acting like she needs to accept the request. So I don't know if there's something on her end or if it's my phone. I do have an older phone, so.
Okay, Dora, I see you there. I'm so happy to see you there, but I don't think I can do anything from my end. Dora, try requesting again. And if you don't see a way to accept when Darryl says yes, then maybe you could just put a little bit about your story in the chat and we'll read it out loud. And if you know Dora and you've been, maybe you follow Dora or are friends with Dora on her Facebook page, definitely reach out to Dora because she's had an awesome experience with this and she can also get you that discount. And I want to make sure we get that in your hands. We have a couple questions about the PDR, the physician's desk reference. Some of you guys know what that is, and some of you have never heard of it. So I'm just going to explain briefly that every medication under the sun that you can think of is listed in what's called the PDR, the physician's desk reference. You can see side effects. You can see what medications shouldn't be taken with other medications. And so very often we have people ask us, well, I want to use the Feel Great system, but is it safe while I'm still taking these medications? And they want to talk to their doctor and figure that out. Well, the good news is that normally if you were using a fiber supplement over the counter, maybe like Metamucil or Benefiber or something, you can't look those up in the physician's desk reference because they're not medication, right? They're supplements. Well, this is not medication either, but it is under a category called a nutraceutical. And nutraceutical sounds like pharmaceutical, but it's not. It's not medication. It's natural, but it's working as well as medication without the side effects. And so my husband had this situation. He went to his doctor and he said, I'd really like to get off my statin and I'm using this system. And she said, sounds like a scam. I've never heard of it. And he said, well, my wife said to look it up in the PDR. Does that mean anything to you? And she said, oh yeah, I know all about the PDR. So right there, while he was in office, she was able to flip and find both of these by name. I actually think she looked it up online, found both of them by name and was like, they sound pretty good. Let's see what happens. And she monitored his blood. She had him come, I think, every 6 weeks and they tested his labs. And she started shaving a little bit and a little bit more off his statin dosage and eventually got completely off it. And he lost 25 pounds. And some of that weight, I think he was hanging on to because of the statin. Because it was almost like after he was completely off of that, he was really able to change his levels. He also has seen his testosterone levels go up, triglyceride levels go down, a lot of awesome benefits from tracking it that closely with the doctor. But she actually got on a Zoom call with me because she was like, that worked really well. Like, what was that? And I think it's tricky because, doctors, they are doing their best to help us and they have only the information that they have, right? And nutrition isn't something they spend time teaching them, nor is alternative things like natural food-based products that you can use. And so most doctors are thrilled to see good results and they want to support you on getting off medications. Some are not comfortable with that because it's so outside of what they are used to and what they know. And so, you know, Darryl, maybe you could speak to that a little bit, but I know you've found providers that are now kind of working with you on this journey.
That's correct. So I do have a regular doctor, and she had prescribed me several things back after my stroke. We asked my physical therapist that I was going through and working with just after the stroke, and she recommended this particular doctor. She's great. She really is a good doctor, but she relies on medications. And so wanting to not add more medications, but rather take responsibility for where I'm at and change those things. We had reached out to a doctor that deals with the natural way of healing. They're called something. What are they called? Do you know what the name of?
I mean, there's naturopaths. There's also,
I
you
think
know,
that's it.
internists. Sometimes they're a little bit more. Yeah, there's all different types. Yeah.
I think it's a natural path. We've had one meeting with her, and I'm waiting for the 3-month redo of my blood, which I'm really excited about, which I think will be next month. And just to see where I'm just excited to see where I'm at. I don't know in 11 years if I've been excited about this particular aspect of seeing a doctor, you know? Yeah, I just want to go in there and say, yes, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and what'll be interesting, Darryl, because I know you've taken a lot of medications off your plate. And so sometimes when people do that, they see their numbers go up a little bit and rebound, right? Because some of it was getting artificially pushed down with those medications. And so actually, when you get off the medications, even if it goes up a little bit, we're getting a much more true reading of where you're really at
That makes
than
sense.
we
Yeah.
were, right? When
Yeah.
we were seeing it artificially messed with your labs. And so I'm looking forward to that too. I will say Dora has told her story in the chat here. And so if it's okay, I'm just gonna read it out loud because I think this is pretty awesome and I want Dora's story to be heard. And I think that, you know, we're gonna maybe we're gonna need Annie's phone next time. And Dora, we will
Yeah.
get you on a live.
Well,
We will
she's
get
out
you
of
on a live.
town. She went to the beach with the grandkids, so she's out of town, so I didn't have her phone available. So,
Hey, that's okay. We made it happen. But she
yeah.
said, I was diagnosed a type 2 diabetic for the past 34 years. I've been on 2 metformin tablets a day all of these years. I've added a once a week injection of insulin. Since being on this protocol in March, I have had to eliminate 1 tablet and the insulin. It took me 6 weeks before I started losing weight, and today I'm down 9 pounds. Wow. Okay, so I just want you all to listen to Dora's like brilliance there. She's playing the long game. She's realizing that it took her 34 years, I mean, and whatever years before the diagnosis, right, to get where she was. It's going to take a little time to walk it back. But she's already off 2 medications in 6 weeks. And after 6 weeks, she's starting to see some weight loss. So I think that that is incredibly significant. And Dora, like you're going to inspire a lot of people to really like reconsider because the pathway with medication for most people is they start on a certain dose and they manage their numbers until they have to add a higher dose. And then that manages their numbers. And then they add another medication, right? So it's not like you get on the medication, things get better and you get off the medication. It's the opposite. You keep needing more and more. And I think that's where it's frustrating for people because there's no real off ramp on that plan. Whereas with this is a lifestyle that you can easily maintain long term. Like this is not, you're not on, you're utilizing foods, essentially foods in a packet that make it simple to be consistent, right? And there's no side effects and there's no reason that you can't use them long term. And really, if you wanted, you could go off of this. It's just then you have to find a bunch of forms of fiber and different foods to replace what you were getting from the foods in this packet. And so this just makes it so simple. Um, I just love your story, Dora, and I so appreciate you sharing that. And I think that one thing I want to point out with Dora is, you know, when Dora started after 34 years of struggling, when Dora started seeing results after just 6 weeks, her inclination is, how do I get this into more homes? How do I tell more people about this? I know people who are struggling who don't know that it can be this simple, and how can I help share that good news? And I totally realize that not everybody is going to want to like have this be a job or build a business out of this or whatever. Maybe you just want to share about this here or there. But Unicity really does have a very generous referral program that I think is worth taking a look at. And it's a no pressure look because we're literally going to send you a link for a pre-recorded Zoom call that you can listen in on. You'll know if it's a fit for you or not. If it sparks your interest and it's something you'd like to be involved in, Darryl and Annie and I are really looking to put together a team. And we are convinced that there are so many people who are struggling unnecessarily, who don't even know that this is an option for them. And think about your area. How many people do you know that have heard of this, right? Probably zero in most cases. And people are eventually going to find out about this. And so, you know, maybe you could be the one that shares this with them. So if you're just a little bit curious about that, just type info in the comment section and we'll get you that call recording. You can listen to it and tell us what you think. If you want to listen into that science call, again, put science and we'll get you that link too. Darryl, are you seeing these questions? Because Mary's, you don't
It's
see
so
them.
far away. I can see words, but I can't see what they say. So
Okay, so Mary says, is this something you have to do forever? Or is there a point that once you get your numbers met, you will just stop, you know?
I don't think so. To me, it's kind of it's a way of life, and it's enjoyable. I don't see any pain or struggle with this particular protocol, so I enjoy it. So I don't see that. Can you? Certainly. No,
Yeah.
there's
That's
no
kind of how I feel too. I feel like I'm kind of a lifer, but I also totally understand if somebody wasn't. Okay, so but you still need to keep on. Let me just see. This is a legitimate question from Lisa. She said, legitimate question. Are those of you pushing this program receiving profit from sales of it? So, hey, Lisa, great question. And I do want you to know that we are paying the exact same price that we're offering you from the manufacturer. But when you use a referral link of someone's, there is a commission. However, that is not why we're on here sharing about this. I mean, numbers don't lie. And obviously we have a lot of passion about what this can do for people. But if that's of interest to you, then you should definitely put info in the chat and you can kind of learn how that referral program works. I think it's an awesome way that the owners of the company have gone about this. That it's a debt-free company that's worldwide. And they know that they are going to be able to get this into more homes and into more people's lives by sharing it this way. Um, it also avoids the overhead cost of shelf space. I mean, if you think about putting this on the shelf at CVS or Walgreens next to Metamucil or Benefiber, it's not really going to work because people don't understand that this has over 7 forms of plant fiber. It lowers triglycerides and LDL. It balances blood sugar, 37% decrease, and it helps with gut microbiome. Like, it requires a little bit of education. And so they actually tried that for those that remember the Rexall drugstores. Does anybody remember those? I do. And Rexall Drugs used to sell this. Whoops, there we go. They found that it didn't work that way. And so they've shifted to this kind of this modern world we live in with these affiliate links where people can share about products that they love and it gets more exposure to the products. And so we're just trying to get this into as many homes as possible because we've seen what it can do for people. Anything else you'd like to say to that, Darryl?
Brittany, I think you covered it very well. I don't know that I have anything that I can add to that.
Okay, Crystal is asking, have people improved their liver? Yes. So one of the main functions of the Unimate, which there's two products that are here. And one of them is a mate, a yerba mate concentrate, and the other one is balance, and it's a fiber matrix that you take. And you get a 30-day supply of both when you purchase. The mate is known for getting your liver to function more efficiently. So it actually helps you clear out oxidative stress at a quicker rate. It shrinks fat cells and it helps enhance your muscle mass. So even though for a lot of people that are losing weight, they don't have to worry about losing muscle or bone density, and your liver, which all of our livers are taxed. I mean, even if you're a really healthy eater and you eat really clean, the environment, the lotions, everything is heavy on our liver. And so this is magnificent for helping with liver health. There's a lot of great stories we have about reversing fatty liver disease and liver enzymes coming down and significant benefits there. Because as you probably know, liver is one of our organs that even if it's really badly damaged, we can undo that. I mean, cirrhosis, once you get to that stage, that's harder to undo. I don't even know if it's undoable, but prior to cirrhosis, you can actually do a lot for your liver and really repair it. And so this can help a lot with that. I mean, inflammation, autoimmune, gut health issues, cholesterol balance, blood sugar balance, mental health things all connect back to the same root problem of the insulin resistance and the gut health. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. And let's see, I need something for bowel cleansing. I stay constipated. Any thoughts on that? This is a comment from Blake. Any thoughts you have, Darryl, on this helping with bowel cleansing?
Well, I know the balance is very good in helping you become regular. So
Okay.
it's a wonderful product. So.
Margie says, Mr. D, what meds, if any, have you been able to reduce or eliminate?
I've eliminated metformin. I've eliminated the atorvastatin. I have reduced my Jardiance. So those are the main things. I'm still working on the blood pressure side, getting those monitored, and hopefully we'll be able to reduce that with this next appointment.
And everybody, just so we're being clear here, we're not giving medical advice. Darryl's been working with a professional for all of this. Okay. So, and that's something you definitely want to do. Lots of positive changes reported in thyroid issues. Your thyroid T3 to T4 converts in your gut. And so when you improve your gut health, you're going to notice benefits there, but also inflammation coming down systemically, anything that ends in itis, if you're dealing with diverticulitis or colitis or arthritis or any of those things, that you're going to see improvement there. The fasting alone helps with improving inflammation, but most people aren't really able to fast properly or as long as they need to get those benefits without the use of these tools. These make it very easy to fast the way that we would like. So we have a few people asking about caffeine jitters. And this comment is very helpful. Janice says, I'm the same way. I cannot handle caffeine. I did have slight jitters for the first couple days, so I only did 1 packet a day at first, but now I do 2 and I'm feeling great and I'm sleeping great. So I just wanted to tell you all that sometimes in the beginning when people struggle with the fast or with the jitters or feeling like that, they think it's the caffeine from the mate. And if you want, you can cut back, but I bet it's the hormone noradrenaline. And that just happens when you first start fasting. It makes you feel a little wired, but it goes away because counter regulatory hormones come in and balance it. And so if you want to scale back a little bit and give yourself a couple days, no problem. But I bet it's not that. Oh yeah. Okay. She said, oh my gosh, I had great results on my thyroid. Okay. So thank you for sharing that, Cheryl. That's very helpful. And just so everybody kind of knows what it is that they would be getting when they order, you get a 30-day supply of both products that looks like this. So you choose your flavors of the mate, you get 60 packets of that a day. So 2 mate per day and 1 balance to go with your heaviest meal of the day. And then you get this diamond bottle that we all love. It's so handy. And it tells you exactly how to measure how much water you need. Sometimes I pour it over ice in a great big thing here. And that's, I sip on it for hours and hours. And so you can kind of modify the amount of water, but there is this baseline for you. This is how it comes. Sometimes people add an additional box of balance because they like taking a fiber with each of their meals. Totally up to you. You don't have to do that, but you have some options in the cart. And so when you go to purchase, it ends up being about $5 a day with the discount when you get it for the $159 price. And so the idea is that you're skipping a meal, you're fasting through breakfast or a meal of your choice, and you're skipping snacks. And so you take the $15 probably that would cost you, right? But let's just call it the $5 that you save from skipping a meal and skipping snacks, and you purchase this protocol and you just drink these drinks. So, Darryl, any last comments you would say? I know we're getting low on time, and I know there's a lot of
Yeah,
questions here. Sorry if we haven't gotten to some of your questions. We'll do
there
another
is.
one.
Yeah, there is just one thing that I'd like to touch. In Brittany, by touching this doesn't mean that you haven't already said it, and I may have missed it. So I apologize if I'm repeating something that you said. But the Unamate actually naturally lifts or increases your GLP-1 in your gut. That is what quiets the food noise. It's not a synthetic thing like your shots, your Ozempics, and all the other shots. It's natural, healthier. You don't have those side effects that come with the synthetic GLP-1s. And that's what I love, the quietness of the food. Sometimes I've shared with this with a few of the customers. Sometimes after I eat dinner, there's a little bit of food noise about, hey, it's dessert time, let's have a cookie, let's have whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I fix a Unamate and I start sipping on it. And I don't even drink half of it. The rest of it I put in the refrigerator at night once I'm ready to go to bed. But just that little sip that I do for a few hours before I go to bed keeps it quiet. I'm not tempted to go into the kitchen and grab a bag of chips, grab a box of cookies or whatever. So I just wanted to add that. So
Hey, I think that was a great addition. And I just want to say on the heels of that I heard Dr. Ben Bickman, who, again, world-renowned metabolic scientist, he's been doing a bunch of studies on our products because he's blown away by what they're doing to the GLP-1. So thank you for bringing that up. And he said that if you are feeling like late night snacks are coming, you're feeling some cravings, sometimes just have it, and you feel like you need a little something late at night. And he said, and I get it, some of you don't want to drink the mate because it has some caffeine, and if that is going to bother your sleep, Daryl's okay with drinking a half, but some people aren't. So he said that even swishing it around in your mouth a couple times, the mate, the yerba mate saponins, they trigger these bitter tastings on your tongue, and it just turns food noise down. and
Wow.
your cravings just go away. And so use that as a tool. You may notice that you have a little bit of mental drama because you're like, oh, but it would be so fun. And everybody's watching a movie and I don't want to feel left out. And am I going to be bored? And that's going to happen. And you're going to have to, coach yourself through that. Like, hey, we're going to have to either be disappointed now and not have the treat or disappointed later with the effects of having the treat. So where do we want to feel disappointed, right? But at least you're not also battling actual physical cravings because you've turned them down with either drinking some mate or swishing. So great advice, Darryl. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. And I see one person asked the question. We're out of time, but I want to answer this because it's a good one. Sometimes I forget to take my balance before my meal. What should I do? And I just want you to know, if you're in the middle of your meal, still drink it. If you just finished your meal, still drink it. If you're within an hour of your meal, still drink it. Drinking it is better than not drinking it. Best results are to drink it at the start of your meal. But as long as you get it in, it's going to start making this connection with your brain that, like, when I eat, I have balance. And you want to start making that connection. So that's my recommendation on that. Okay. And yes, the website, will you just say one more time, Darryl? Maybe give us like all the different links that everybody needs to know.
Well, the main link is Miss Annie's Home and Kitchen, all spelled out. A&D is in there. .com/fiber. That takes us to our landing page, and then you can scroll down. It's about 3/4 of the way. You'll actually see a video with Brittney and Annie and I. And just above it, there's a couple of boxes that they're kind of a mauve color. You can click on those, and that'll take you to the corporate page and allow you to explore some more.
Perfect. And then if you want to come to the science call tomorrow night, literally just put science in the chat. We'll send you the science call. If you would like to listen in on how the referral program works, the business side of this, no pressure. It's not for everyone, but if you're curious, it's a no pressure Zoom call. It's actually a pre-recorded call on YouTube that you can listen at your convenience and know how the whole thing works. You just need to type info or Zoom and you'll get that. And anybody that's asking, hey, I want to order one part but not the other, message us after this. We'll tell you exactly how to do that. Yes, you can order. You do not have to order the whole system if for some reason. Most people use it together, but there are some situations where people order one or the other, and that's no problem. Okay, anything else, Darryl? Dora, we're going to figure this out for next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. And Natalie, thank you.
Yes, Natalie, thank you very much. And Dora, we'll use Miss Annie's phone next time.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have